Hey guys, the Firebird is here. It's just me, and you know what I love? I love what if scenarios. What if Dragon Ball scenarios, what if Star Wars scenarios, and what if Transformer scenarios. When it comes to what if scenarios, it's something that I really haven't covered to its fullest extent. I did, occasionally make a few remarks like, what if Ironhide survived, what if X character survived, what if Y event happened different. I have made a few of those, but overall this is a topic that I have genuinely ignored and quite a few of you have requested me to talk about. Now, I did watch a couple of Transducer's what if videos. I didn't watch all of them because, I don't wanna, rip off his ideas or anything. So for this video, I kind of wanted to, test the water, see if you guys are okay with what if scenarios by talking about what if Cliffjumper survived. Cliffjumper, the Yamcha of Transformers. I know that's not entirely accurate, but he keeps on dying. Well, actually, he will be more like the Krillin of Transformers, but you get the point. Cliffjumper has been getting the short end of the stick by Hasbro lately. It seems that Cliffjumper can't stop dying. For this video, I wanted to talk about a scenario where Cliffjumper actually survives his encounter with Shatter and Dropkick, and how it will change the events of the B movie. Just the Bumblebee movie, because the Bumblebee movie is supposed to be a reboot, so I'm not going to portray the scenario as the Bumblebee movie being in continuity with the Michael Bay movie, so no Cliffjumper in the 2007 movie Revenge of the Fallen or Dark of the Moon, just so we're clear. So before we begin, we need to discuss how does Cliffjumper survive. We need to, present a scenario where Cliffjumper survives his initial encounter with Dropkick and Shatter. And there are two things that came to my mind. Number one, Cliffjumper, let's say his escape pod is way faster than whatever, Dropkick and Shatter are using. He manages to reach Earth faster than they do. Or number two, and that is the scenario we're gonna be using. While they're on Cybertron, the Autobots are about to be overwhelmed by the Decepticons. You know how the whole thing goes. Before Cliffjumper and Bumblebee get to their escape pods, he assigns the two of them to go to Earth and establish a base for them, because according to what Cliffjumper said, he's the lieutenant of the Autobot forces, the Autobot resistance, whatever you wanna call it. I also made a video on that, by the way, so you can check that out if, you want the full context for that. Optimus Prime assigns both Cliffjumper and Bumblebee to go to Earth and establish a base for them, while everyone else kinda just scatters to the winds and tries to, confuse the Decepticons as to where they're going. And I think the scenario is more logical because it always confused me why Optimus Prime assigned this mission to, Bumblebee. Him and, let's say, not Ironhide, Ratchet, RC, other Autobots that are probably more qualified than B to, set up such an important task. In this scenario, Cliffjumper and Bumblebee leave Cybertron together, and they both arrive on Earth at the same time, basically. Now, in the movie, when Bumblebee arrived on Earth, he had the misfortune of arriving during, Sector 7 training exercise. When Bumblebee landed on Earth, it didn't kill anyone for some reason, and it only injured quite a few of Agent Burns' people. But in this scenario, considering that we have two meteors landing on Earth, I'm gonna say that the impact will probably have the unintended effect of killing a few of Agent Burns' men. This will become a little bit relevant later. And after that, the events following kinda play the same. But Cliffjumper and Bumblebee start running away from the humans. I believe that during this scenario, Bumblebee scans his, Jeep vehicle mode, and Cliffjumper also scans either a Jeep or one of the other, types of cars that Sector 7 is using to chase after them. So they get shot and eventually they get cornered by Sector 7. Now, it is my belief that unlike in the movie where as soon as Bumblebee got rammed by a car, the Sector 7 agents kind of stopped shooting at B because they were pretty curious about what he was and what he was doing there, But remember that Agent Burns is the one in charge and the one calling the shots at the moment. So I believe that by Cliffjumper and Bumblebee unintentionally landing on Earth and killing a few of Burns' men, I think that Burns will be a little bit more, hostile towards them, and instead of stopping, he will order his Sector 7 agents to keep on shooting until they basically stop moving completely. I'm not completely sure how Cliffjumper and B will react. The humans will be hostile towards them and they will be, taking quite a bit of damage from this. Not enough to kill them, but it will definitely still hurt them quite a bit. Now, I'll be honest, we don't really know a lot about Cliffjumper, so I really can't say how he will react to this scenario, but considering that he remained a loyal Autobot to the end when, you know, in the actual movies he got killed by Shatter and Dropkick, I think that Cliffjumper will, you know, stick to the values of the Autobots and not try to harm the humans, despite them being very hostile towards the two Autobots. I think they will both try to get away until they hear the sounds of jet engines, and that's when Blitzwing comes in. So Blitzwing arrives much like in the actual movie. He basically bombards the area and basically takes out all of the remaining humans, with the exception of Agent Burns and maybe a few others, we don't know about that, but that's not important. So Blitzwing arrives, and then it's Cliffjumper and Bumblebee against Blitzwing. Now the fight would be, well, for the most part play out like it did in the actual movie. Bumblebee put up a really good fight against Blitzwing, you gotta admit that. And Cliffjumper, in theory, supposedly, he's stronger than Bumblebee, he's more experienced. So I think that with Cliffjumper's help, the balance will tip in favor of Bee and Cliffjumper. It will still be a difficult fight because Blitzwing can fly and all of that. He's a really big Decepticon, but I really do believe that for the most part, the battle will tip into favor of Cliffjumper and Bee, and they will both be able to either, you know, decapitate Blitzwing or just knock him out entirely and then kill him, because they're trying to make sure Earth is Decepticon free until the other Autobots can arrive. So this means that Bumblebee will not lose his voice during this fight. They will both be somewhat injured, but I don't think it will be to the extent that the Bumblebee vs Blitzwing fight played out in the actual movie. So this means that Bumblebee will not lose his memories. So Cliffjumper and Bumblebee will both, you know, leave the area as quickly as possible, scan new vehicle modes, and go into hiding. So my guess is that they will follow on Optimus Prime's orders and begin establishing a base somewhere in a remote area where there are no humans around. It is my belief that as soon as they start doing this, Cliffjumper will send the all clear signal to any Autobots nearby. Because we need to remember that Bumblebee was able to, like, you know, transmit a signal that was picked up by Cliffjumper on the moons of Saturn. So they can clearly send out a message to any Autobots that might happen to be in range. And the plan for Optimus was for everyone to sort of meet up on Earth. So my guess is that they will be constantly transmitting a signal until someone picks it up, basically. So this means that Bumblebee will keep his voice, he will not be as injured, he will not lose his memories, and he will not meet Charlie. Because he, you know, wouldn't go into stasis until he was repaired by Charlie. Now this is where things get a bit interesting. Not that Blitzwing is gone and the only other Cybertronians as far as we know of are Bumblebee and Cliffjumper who are hiding on Earth. Now what happens to Dropkick and Shatter? Will they still make it to Earth? Well, I'll be honest, I'm not sure. After they got, you know, done beating up Blitzwing, I think that maybe there's an off chance that, you know, Shatter and Dropkick just happen to be around the solar system and they managed to pick up one of Cliffjumper's, you know, signals to other Autobots. My guess is that at some point, you know, Shatter will probably pick up the transmission of Cliffjumper that's trying to signal other Autobots. Is this possible? It is possible, but then there's the problem with what if scenarios. We don't really have a huge certainty of if this were to happen or not. For the purposes of this video, to make it a bit more interesting, we're gonna say that Shatter and Dropkick actually, let's say, they just happen to be exploring around the solar system. And I think that maybe during the battle with Blitzwing, let's say maybe Blitzwing sends out a distress signal to any other Decepticons that just happen to be in the area. Because it's a 2 against 1. I think even Blitzwing will know to call for backup. Let's say that either they pick up Cliffjumper's signal, you know, transmitting it to other Autobots, telling them, hey guys, listen, it's me and B here on Earth, we need backup or whatever. Or let's say Blitzwing sends out a signal before he gets killed, like saying, guys, there's 2 Autobots here, I need backup. Somehow, someway, Shatter and Dropkick make it into landing in America. Somewhere in America, because that's where they receive the transmission from either Cliffjumper or Blitzwing. So as soon as Shatter and Dropkick land, I think their presence will be known by Sector 7, who will probably be monitoring the sky for any more extraterrestrials that arrive to Earth. Now, something that I want to note here is that because Bumblebee and Cliffjumper got some of Agent Burns' men killed, albeit by accident, I think that Agent Burns will be a whole lot more hostile towards any Cybertronians that he sees. This could probably hurt a future human Autobot alliance, but it's not out of the question entirely. It could just create some animosity and make the whole alliance a whole lot more difficult for it to happen, but it could still happen. So Shatter and Dropkick will be intercepted by Sector 7. I'm not entirely sure if the Sector 7's first, response will be to try and kill Dropkick and Shatter, or to try and, talk with them first, see what they want, but we're gonna go with the latter. Agent Burns reluctantly agrees with Sector 7's, request of wanting to, talk to them first before start shooting. And in here, I think things will play out like they did in the actual movie. Sector 7 and the Decepticons form a sort of alliance to track down Bumblebee and Cliffjumper. Shatter and Dropkick will still, try to present themselves as basically the space police, and they're chasing criminals, those being Cliffjumper and Bumblebee. Now, this is where things get interesting. So, there's no Charlie, there's no Bumblebee losing his memories, there's no him, accidentally connecting to like the electricity or whatever. Basically allowing for Shatter and Dropkick to pick his signal and, go up to him and capture him. That wouldn't happen in this scenario. Shatter and Dropkick will still create the internet, and they will still try to, track down Cliffjumper and Bumblebee. But I think that for the most part, this will not be the case. They will not be able to find them. I think that will be relatively hard to find. So Shatter and Dropkick will team up with the humans, for the time being until they're able to find Cliffjumper and Bee. But even with the humans' help, I don't think they will be able to. Especially if Cliffjumper and Bumblebee make their secret base somewhere in a remote area, let's say like a forest or a desert or the Great Canyon or whatever. Optimus Prime and other Autobots will begin to arrive on Earth. And now this is where things get tricky, because Sector 7 is going to be keeping an eye on the sky now, especially with the Decepticons around. So as soon as more Autobots start coming to Earth, I think we could start seeing a cemetery win scenario here, in which the Decepticons and the humans actually form an alliance to hunt down the quote-unquote dangerous criminals, being the Autobots. So as soon as an Autobot lands on Earth, there will be a Sector 7 response team combined with Dropkick and Shatter. And we do know that Dropkick and Shatter are really dangerous opponents, because the two of them were able to kill Cliffjumper. So if, let's say, someone like RC, Brawn, Ironhide, Jazz, if any of them arrives on Earth, especially by themselves, they will immediately be killed by both Dropkick and Shatter, if not captured. But as far as we know, after Bumblebee in the actual movie, the next Autobot that arrived on Earth was Optimus Prime, then followed up by the remaining Autobot reinforcements. So my guess is that Optimus Prime will be the next Autobot to land on Earth after Bumblebee and Cliffjumper. Now, as soon as he lands on Earth, I think the Decepticons and Sector 7 will be the first ones to respond. Before being intercepted, I think Optimus Prime will send a signal to Bumblebee and Cliffjumper telling them where to meet and where they are. Much like what happened in the actual Bumblebee movie as soon as Optimus Prime arrived on Earth and he later met up with Optimus. So yeah, Sector 7 and the Decepticons will be the first ones to find Optimus Prime, and a small fight will ensue. Now, Optimus is ridiculously strong. He previously beat Shatter and Dropkick when they were on Cybertron, and they had a stronger backup here. I think even with the help of Sector 7 and Optimus Prime's reluctancy to, kill humans, I think that the Decepticons will still be in a really good spot to mess up with Optimus Prime. Will they beat him? I highly doubt it. I think Optimus Prime will manage to get away or beat Shatter and Dropkick. But I think that Shatter and Dropkick, especially Shatter, will realize that fighting Optimus Prime is a fruitless endeavor, and they will tell Sector 7 that they need to retreat, like they cannot fight Optimus Prime, he's way too strong. So both Shatter and Dropkick will try to escape, but Optimus Prime, knowing that if the Decepticons manage to send a signal to other Decepticons, and if they tell them that Optimus Prime and the other Autobots are on Earth, the Decepticons will send an army to Earth, and they will basically kill all the humans and the Autobots. So my guess is that Optimus Prime will fight desperately to kill Shatter and Dropkick, all the while not trying to hurt the humans, and the humans will try to kill Optimus. It is my guess that Dropkick will probably die during this encounter. Shatter will probably tell Dropkick to go and entertain Optimus Prime while she gets away. So Optimus Prime has no choice but to quickly kill Dropkick, and by the time he does, Shatter manages to get away. Once Shatter and the Sector 7 forces regroup, I definitely do believe that Shatter will make a case to the humans that with Optimus Prime there and the Dropkick, they're gonna need reinforcements. Now, I'm not entirely sure if Sector 7 will agree to her request of, basically calling in reinforcements. I think Agent Burns will probably be the one that's the most opposed to this, but I think that Shatter, considering how intelligent she is, she would play smart and she will say that she's also bringing Decepticon scientists and all kinds of, technology that the humans could use to improve themselves. By putting this offer on the table, Shatter would manage to convince the humans to send a transmission to all of the Decepticons for reinforcements. So Optimus Prime will later meet up with Bumblebee and Cliffjumper, and if they do that, other Autobot reinforcements will also arrive on Earth. As soon as this happens, Optimus Prime has two options. They either leave the planet, or they stay and try to convince the humans that the Decepticons are evil, and that they actually want to kill them all. I think that considering how Optimus Prime is portraying the B-movie and that he's supposed to be more like his G1 self, I think that Optimus Prime will opt out to stay on Earth and try to help the humans. And now this is where the whole thing becomes a whole lot more complicated. Shadow contacts Cybertron, she contacts Shockwave, Starscream, whoever's in charge in there. And they send in the army, they send in thousands of Seekers, and they start basically ravaging Earth. The Sector 7 and, Decepticon Alliance sort of stops, and we basically have a repeat of Chicago from Dark of the Moon. There's mass panic, there's death all around, the Decepticons are now organized because they know where the Autobots are. And keep in mind, this is not like in Fall of Cybertron or the Aligned Continuity. The Autobots scatter throughout the universe to basically thin out the Decepticons. That way the Autobots have more of a fighting chance now. Because they're not fighting army to army, they're like guerrilla fighting across the entire galaxy. But by this point in the timeline, I think that most Autobots and Decepticons are not totally scattered throughout the galaxy yet. I think they're relatively, not like really close to Cybertron, but they're somewhere around close to Cybertron. But they're, not that far away from Cybertron as they were in other continuities. So as soon as both factions learn that Earth is the new battleground, Autobots and Decepticons will start coming in droves to Earth. Unlike what happened in the original Bay continuity, where years pass and, the Great Exodus happened, and then Autobots and Decepticons start slowly arriving to Earth. I think that in desperation, the humans will form an alliance with the Autobots. But the alliance will again probably be really shaky because the humans trusted the Transformers once and the cons basically turned on them. So they will be really wary to trust on the Autobots. So as soon as, the Decepticons start fighting the humans and the Autobots, I think the way things will play out is that Optimus Prime and the humans will operate separately. The humans will have their own operations and the Autobots will have their own operations against the Decepticons. They might team up here and there, but for the most part, I think that Optimus Prime will want to prove to the humans that they are indeed on their side by, risking their lives and fighting the Decepticons on their own terms. Kind of like what they did in Transformers Prime. But I definitely do believe that with the entirety of the Decepticon army arriving to Earth, I do believe that ultimately the Autobots will lose the war right here on Earth, because with no way to escape and the Decepticons monitoring Earth for any Cybertronians that are arriving or leaving, I think that the result of this will end up being a Decepticon victory over the humans and the Autobots. The Autobots will probably be wiped out and the humans will be either, wiped out as well, or they will be made into slaves, kind of like they were planned to be in Dark of the Moon. So yeah, overall this turned dark real freaking fast. This only goes really dark if Dropkick and Shatter arrive on Earth. If by some miracle Dropkick and Shatter arrive on Earth and they learn that either Blitzwing or Bumblebee and Cliffjumper are there, then the Earth is screwed in my opinion. But if they don't, then things are relatively brighter because Optimus Prime arrives on Earth a few days later. Sector 7 probably meets up with the Autobots and meets up with Optimus Prime because they intercept him coming to Earth. So an Autobot/human alliance is probably formed really early and things kind of improve. Things could go either way. It really depends on Dropkick and Shatter. They're the factor that changes everything for this. But hey, that's just one possible scenario. But anyways guys, that's it for this video. Shoutouts goes to our patrons: Morrise Prime, iPulse Fate, Mario Gordon, Predaking Hunter Plays, Mr. Baby Duke, and the absolute madman himself, Jordan the Great, who donated $100. Thanks for your support guys. make sure to go check out their channels, links in the description down below, and if you guys want to shout out yourself, all you have to do is donate to my Patreon. By donating to my Patreon, you get quite a few rewards. You can get a shout out to your channel, you can request your own videos, you can collab with me in some of my videos if you choose to. You get a special role on my Discord server. You can also get early access to my videos and stuff like that. There's plenty of rewards to choose from and it's entirely optional. It sounds like a pretty good deal, right? But keep in mind, this is entirely optional since freedom is the right of all sentient beings. Thank you guys for donating, it's much appreciated. So yeah, thanks a lot guys. So yeah guys, this turned dark real quickly, I'm not gonna lie, but I think this is an interesting scenario where one factor can change the outcome of an entire universe, and it all depends again on Dropkick and Shadow. Do they find Cliffjumper and B? Do they not find them and things get better? Do they find them and things go to hell? It depends here, but yeah guys, let me know your thoughts on what if Cliffjumper survived. Do you think that things will have turned out to be this dark, or do you think things will have been a little brighter? Let me know in the comments down below, and let me know if you guys want me to talk about more what if scenarios, because I find the idea of what if scenarios fascinating to talk about and discuss, but I haven't really done this before and I'm not really sure if you guys will be, really interested on me talking about them. If you guys like this, then I will make more, but if not, then I guess it ends here. So yeah, like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Stay safe guys.